Hello everybody. So in today's video, we will start learning about curves in Blender. Now we have the starting scene and we will delete this cube of course. And now let's add a curve. So we will not be adding a mesh, we will add a curve and a Bezier curve. And you do see this is a curve. It looks like a curve. Now if I go to the edit mode, we will see that there are 2 points in the curve, this one and this one. And there are two lines attached to it. So these lines are nothing but tangents. And we also call this as handles. Now in the edit mode, there is a draw tool and we can basically draw any curve. So let's draw something like a spring. So something like this. Uh, and you do see there is a complex curve, but this is also a curve, of course, very similar to the default one. Now, how can we work with curves? To do that, let's go to geometry nodes. So in the geometry nodes, I will select our curve. So both these curves are selected together because we have drawn this in the edit mode. Yeah, anyway, that is not a problem. So what we will do is we will click on new and we do have the default stuff, the group input and the group output. If we simply remove the group input, everything will vanish. We don't want that. So let's bring back the group input. Now what we can do is we know that the curves have some points. So the first curve has 2 points, this curve has many points. So what we can do is we can add something called instance on points. We have discussed about this before in a previous video. So the instance on points will basically bring some instance in our points. So we do see something, some small dots. So how to make it better is if we simply draw some instance over here. So we have dragged the instance and here let's add a cube or anything. So there is a cube in all our instance. And what we simply have to do is we have to scale it down to, let's say, 0.1. And now you see there are lots of cubes being added here. Let's make it full because we don't really use the other side. Or let's just split it like this, left hand and right hand. Yeah, I do think this is better. Now this doesn't look good because we don't know where these points are and how these points are formed. And this is where there is a very important node that we should use, and it is called resample curve. So if we add the resample curve here, now you do see uh, there is a smoothness to it. So there are 10, the count of 10 over here, and if we simply make it 100, you do see that we are getting a good idea of the curve. Now let's make the scale even smaller, so 0.05, and you do see that there is a curve formed with cube. Now this count cube doesn't look very good because here the cubes are densely packed. However, here it is not so. If I just make it 5, you will see that this curve has 5 cubes, of course, and the second curve also has 5 cubes. However, this doesn't give a clear picture of how the curve looks like. So if I just make it 100, we do know how the curve looks like. So there is another method. This is called length, and this will make it uniform. So in every zero point 0.1 distance, there will be a cube. That is what it means. So if I just make it 0.05, it will be more dense. And if I just make it 1, it will be very, very less. And as you can see, this distance is basically 1 meter. And that is how it looks like. Yeah, so we can basically use it like this. So that is our resample curve. And using curves, we can actually do many things like drawing pipes, drawing any other sort of things that we can call a curve. Now, one last thing to show you before calling it a day is how we can add some depth to our curves. So for example, if we simply remove the instance and everything and just drag the curve to the geometry. So the curves are nothing more than some lines and some points. But what if we want to draw some pipes, let's say? So what we can simply do is in the curve, there is something called data. And in the data, there will be something called geometry. Inside the geometry, there will be a bevel. And here we have something called a depth. Now here, let's give the depth as 0.05. And you see, we have some pipe sort of things. Now we can also increase the resolution from 4 to let's say 6, and or we can also make it 2. And there will be some minor differences with this. So for example, let's say it like this. If it is 1, it is like it has more edges. And if it is let's say 12, it is more smooth. And that is how a simple, let's say, a pipe is being formed. And although we wanted to make it like a pipe, but there were some mistakes we did. So that is how it looks a little bit weird. But that is how we can simply add depth to our curves, and instead of adding, let's say, instances and other things. So yeah, there are many options in how we can use curves. So yeah, that's it for this video, folks. And I will see you soon with another very interesting Blender video. So see you soon.